We always discuss a wide variety of topics on our daily talk show, Barnstable This Morning. But this past week, there were two topics in particular that kept cropping up. The first was the recently reconciled state budget, which awaits the governor's signature after both houses of the legislature approved it last week. One feature of the budget that's sure to help out many cities and towns was the preservation of $65 million in local aid that was originally slated to be cut. State Senator Dan Wolf talked about that decision on Tuesday, July 5th.
Well, I think it's a wonderful decision, and again, the $65 million will come out of funds that get collected between now and the end of the year in surplus to I think what will be conservative projections of revenue. So I think we all should be pleased that that $65 million was restored. Now, I think we all have to also acknowledge that that $65 million, while important, is a small part of what we need to really fully fund our municipal budgets and get them back in the direction that we want. But I was very happy to see that.
I think a lot of municipalities are probably pleased with that. I mean, here on Cape Cod, we don't necessarily benefit from local aid like some more urban areas tend to, but it helps. And I mean, here in the town of Barnstable, our finance director was anticipating a 10% cut in local aid. So to get that all back certainly will help our town for sure.
Well, as you said, I mean, the absolute numbers on the Cape are not huge relative to what that represents, but they are certainly significant numbers, and I think everybody who depends on the municipal budget to perform for how they live and for our infrastructure and important parts of living on Cape Cod, it's really essential.
As for exactly how good the news of restored local aid is for the town of Barnstable, Director of Finance Mark Milne was upbeat as he broke that down for us on Thursday, July 7th.
Yeah, this is really good news for the town of Barnstable. We did balance a budget for fiscal year 2012 using a 10% estimated reduction in local aid, and that did not materialize. So, for once, we are in a position, the enviable position of having some capacity into our budget going into fiscal year 2013, and that's what this is going to do. Mm-hmm. We're going to have a higher revenue base to work from when we start building the 2013 budget, which is really good news because for every year since I've been here, it's always the other direction. We're always working in a hole to begin with, and we have to get ourselves out of that hole. And we were projecting a pretty significant funding shortfall for fiscal year 2013 last year when we did our 10-year forecast. This will help us eliminate a lot of that funding shortfall for 2013.
What's the extent of the help that we're going to get because of your projections and then the results at the state level? Because, of course, earlier on in the budget process, we had some favorable news about Chapter 70 aid, school aid as well.
Yeah, altogether, it's about $900,000 to the good for the town of Barnstable.
Wow!
And if that local aid cut of $65 million is restored, it could be that'll be about another $125,000. But that's an interesting one. State legislators have warned us about that particular issue. It's a one-time restoration of that 7% cut. Uh-huh. And what's going to trigger it is if the state budget has about $130 million. They have to come up with at least $130 million in budget turnbacks at the state level for fiscal year 2011.
Okay.
So they're guaranteeing that if they can come up with $130 million of return to budget at the state level, half of that, or $65 million, will be allocated to cities and towns and restore that 7% cut for 1 year only.
The other recurring topic this past week on BTM was an obvious one, the July 4th weekend that had come and gone. We asked all of our guests who manage business and tourism organizations and transportation facilities for their assessments of the biggest commercial weekend of the year on Cape Cod. And as you'll hear, there seems to be a real sense of optimism that the worst of the economic doldrums are behind our local businesses. Have a listen. Everybody who I've talked to so far has been raving about what a great weekend that we had. What do you think?
I'm going to be right with them. It was just amazing. It was wow. I think we had the best 4th of July yet.
And what makes you say that?
All the people. I get comments probably on a daily basis that people actually think that there are more people here this year than there have been in the past couple of years. And I think I agree with them. I think this place has been hopping with tons of people, and I think it's a great thing.
Have you checked in with any of your members, and have they given you any indication as to how they did this past weekend?
Absolutely, and I keep, and I know we talk about this quite a bit in the last couple of months, but I have to say that everything is positive. If I spoke to a lot of our hotels, and most of them said that if they were not full, they were almost full, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't be happy for them. The restaurants, it was great. Outside dining did fantastic, especially on Main Street. Also, the harbor, the restaurants on the harbor were busy. They were full. We talked to some of the retailers. Also had a great weekend, lots of foot traffic. So overall, I think everyone is very, very happy with the way the weekend went.
But, we look at a lot of different factors. One is our visitor centers. We have one on Route 6 in Hyannis and one right on Route 25 leading to the Bourne Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And, Route 6 was slamming all weekend long. We typically, on 4th of July holiday weekend, so from anywhere from a Friday to a Monday, we typically get about 350 people coming in our doors, and we had over 600 visitors.
Wow.
That's a really good indicator. People looking for everything from places to eat and also places to stay. So a lot of people did just, come down, probably looked outside, saw the weather, and decided to come down this weekend. And, we weren't sold out, so we were able to, some properties were sold out, others weren't, so we were able to accommodate people looking for places to stay. And Route 25, actually, that visitor center had over 4,800 people. And I definitely think the fact that there was a 10-mile backup on Route 25 on Friday and Saturday probably contributed to that. Definitely a lot of people looking for information, a lot of people needing to use the laboratory.
Yeah.
Our vending machines were totally cleared out, I think, by late Saturday. And we had 2 stellar days on Sunday and Monday. So, it was definitely much more than they anticipated, but we were so happy.
I think the best measure that I have, that I'm able to get put together for you, is that our parking lots were full before noon on Friday.
Wow.
And we were operating our shuttle buses then. And so that's quite a bit. We probably had, 500-600 cars right here at the airport, and then my understanding is that the Steamship Authority parking lot that we own and lease to them, where we also put overflow parking, which holds about 1,000 cars, was also full.
Unbelievable. Wow.
Yeah, this weekend. So, to me, that's a great indicator that it was very busy.
How many parking spots do you have if all of them were full, just to give people a sense?
If all of our parking spaces were full, I'd say
roughly
close to 2,000 if you include the Steamship Authority parking lot. But again, they probably take up 2/3 or more of that for their uses.
Wow.
You got to look at it from that perspective.
Well, still, obviously the parking lots were packed, and the airport must have been busy. There's no question about that, unless people decided that they just wanted to park at the airport and cruise around for the weekend, which doesn't make any sense to me at all.
I think that I even had long-term parkers coming in who were concerned about using their cars because they wouldn't be able to get back in the parking lot. And we do know that people were parking all over town because all the lots were full.
Remember, if you'd like to watch any of these complete interviews, every full-length episode of Barnstable This Morning is available to watch on demand in our online video archives. You can find it all at town.barnstable.ma.us. Well, that's all for now. Everybody have a great weekend. I'm Nick Cortez, and we'll see you next time on Barnstable Today.